the University Teachers Association Winneba chapter, University of Education Winneba chapter, is distancing itself from the contents of a statement issued by President of the association yesterday. Dr. Frimpong Ketri-Duku announced the return of Professor Avorke as the substantive Vice Chancellor of the University of Education Winneba. In a statement, Dr. Duku implored all members of the association on campus to lend their support to Professor Avorke as he resumes his former position as the Vice Chancellor of the university. But the lecturers on campus say they cannot be part of that decision. Well, JoyNews editor for Smith will be joining me in studio shortly with details of that statement released by the members of UTAG UEW. But my colleague Richard Kojonyanko is currently on the campus. Richard, what's the mood at the UEW campus this morning?
Well, at the moment, I can count up to about 4 police vehicles that are stationed at the university administration. 2 of them are patrolling the university campus to ensure that there is peace and order. Yesterday, the ousted Vice Chancellor, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Avorke, indicated that he was going to return to the campus to resume his duties as the Vice Chancellor. And so that has heightened the fear that there might be something untoward that might eventually happen should that thing come on. But this morning, they are yet to see Professor Avorke on the campus of the University of Education, and that is why the police presence is here. I was not also seeing the current Vice Chancellor, Reverend Professor Anthony Afuboni, on the campus yet, and but the administrative staff of the university, they are going about their normal duties. The school is not currently in session because it's on vacation. But there are some masters and doctoral students that are currently taking their research and all of that. And so that is currently what's happening on campus.
And Richard, we also know that a graduation ceremony was foiled because of this impasse.
Exactly. The graduation couldn't come off. It's been slated for a date be announced because there is no government council at the University of Education. But as of now, the tenure of the government council expired on the 17th of July. Government is yet to constitute a new government council that will oversee the activities of the university. And so, as it stands now, there is no governing council, and until the governing council is in place, they will stick to the direction of affairs at the university, and then they can announce a new date for the graduation to come.
Richard, we'll leave you to stay on the campus for us. Hopefully, we'll join you in subsequent bulletins. But that's my colleague, Richard Kojonyanko, our Central Region correspondent, bringing us live updates from the University of Education Winneba campus. JoyNews editor Fred Smith is here to share details of the statement released by members of UTAG UEW chapter. Now, Fred, they say that they do not associate with that press release by the president of their association, supporting the return of Professor Avorke. What more do they say in that statement?
Indeed, from this statement, it's clear that the front of the lecturers there is seriously divided. And I read to you this statement presented by those who do not agree with the president of UTAG, University of Education Winneba. It says, we the entire general members of UTAG UEW are scandalized by a coup d'etat-like press release issued on July 23rd, 2019 by Dr. Frimpong Ketri-Duku, president of UTAG UEW, and his executives, purporting that we, the members of UTAG UEW, support a rather weird, scandalous, and most frivolous position of a self-declared reinstatement back to office of the former Vice Chancellor, Professor Avorke, and some other dismissed staff of the university. For the avoidance of doubt, we wish to state categorically that the press release represents the personal parochial views of Dr. Frimpong Ketri-Duku and his executives and does not arise from a majority or consensus decision of the entire UEW UTAG members. More especially, the press statement is a huge indictment on the integrity of Dr. Frimpong Ketri-Duku, who a few weeks ago had been granted pardon by the UEW Governing Council for an earlier disciplinary action on some acts that constituted gross misconduct. Indeed, we, the general members, had in our earlier press conference in March 2019 pleaded with the Governing Council to tamper justice with mercy and recall Dr. Frimpong Ketri-Duku and some 2 others back to work following their dismissal. The Governing Council granted our request and reinstated the 3 culprits through its powers of pardon. We therefore shudder at this nauseating, recalcitrant behavior of Dr. Frimpong Ketri-Duku as exhibited through the press release and interventions granted the media. It goes on, and I present you what the final points are. It says, we are aware of a court action at the Cape Coast High Court by the same Professor Avorke and the dismissed officers seeking to challenge their dismissal or being asked to step aside, and was hoping that Professor Avorke and other dismissed officers will have had the patience to wait for the court ruling, which we understand will be delivered on July 30, 2019. Indeed, what is even more worrisome is the fact that this rumble-style attitude of self-reinstatement by dismissed officials is a conspicuously contentious attitude by Professor Avorke and his cohorts shown to the courts, the very place where they are seeking justice. Says it is clear that Dr. Frimpong Ketri-Duku's press release was wrought out of mischief. He has, in the current circumstances, not been mandated to speak for the generality of UTAG UEW members on this sickening act by should know better intellectuals and professors scheming to take over offices already occupied by appointees of a legitimate UEW council, governing council.
And this is signed by Eric Nketia on behalf of UTAG UEW members. And before you leave, in that statement, they reiterate their support for the current Vice Chancellor, Very Reverend Professor Anthony Afol-Bruni, as a legally backed, properly appointed and legitimate Vice Chancellor of the University of Education. And as we just heard from my colleague who is on the ground, he's yet to spot Very Reverend Professor Anthony Afol-Bruni or Professor Avorke, who stormed the campus premises. But thankfully, the students are not in school, Fred. But in times past, we've seen how this has affected education at the university.
It is still affecting education because as we speak, students are submitting project works and they need the peace to be able to do this and others. You recall on Monday, there was supposed to have been the graduation of more than 12,000 students who have completed their coursework there. That has not happened, and mainly because there's no governing council in place. At the same time, we're having this issue. There's no governing council in place to help resolve. So it's a very dicey situation at the University of Education, whenever.
Thank you very much. JoyNews editor Fred Smith there. Well, we are expecting the Minister of Education to address the press today on many matters. Hopefully, he will speak on this particular one because it's trending and is of interest to a lot of people. We'll see if we will get a reaction from the Minister.